In this video, we are going to cover the fundamental Excel arithmetic operators. That includes addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. I'll show you how to use these operators in formulas to perform basic calculations on your data. And I'll also explain the order of operations Excel follows. So let's dive in. So let's say we want to calculate the total selling price of each product based on the quantity sold. So in that case, we are multiplying the unit selling price by the quantity sold. So in this cell, we do B3 multiplied by the quantity D3. Press enter. That gives you 15. So now, instead of repeating the formula, just look at the right side of the cell. Once you hover that to the right bottom corner, you see this black cross. You can just double click, and that's the Excel autofill feature. Or instead of that, let's do Ctrl Z. We could simply left click the mouse and drag. All right, same thing. So let's verify. So B4 times D4. All right, let's try one more using the total cost column. So total cost will be equal to the unit cost price times the quantity sold, and that gives you 10. We do the same thing to autofill. So now let's move on to addition. So let's say we want to total the total selling. Total the total. A good spot will be to pick E8. It's right below the two cells. So we do equal to, and then we can start doing this plus this plus, and then it gives us 72.5. Now I know you might be thinking, Isaac, this is quite inefficient. Of course it is inefficient. So instead of doing these calculations one by one like this, we can now use the sum function. So we'll do equal to sum, and then we'll simply drag from E3 to E6, bracket close. Gives us the same answer, more efficient. So now let's also do the same thing for the total cost. So we'll do sum, we drag over like this, and that's it, 54.4. Now something I want to explain to you. When you see this colon, the colon indicates a range. So F3 to F6 means that you are selecting all cells from F3 to F6. So if we did, let's say E3, then it selects from E3 to F6, and that gives us a completely different number. So let me undo, go back, verify. Okay, cool. Now alternatively, instead of repeating the formula, we could just drag from here to this side, and it gives us the same result. And the reason is Excel has the concept of relative references, and I'll touch on that in a separate video. Now I'm going to touch on the order of operations in Excel, and this is extremely important. So for example, if I did 7 plus 5 divided by 3, you might get 4, because if you are looking at the calculation from left to right, then it is 7 plus 5, which is 12, over 3, which is 4. But unfortunately, you don't get that. You get 8.667. This is because Excel is following a certain sequence to make these calculations. So it's using what we'll normally refer to as PEMDAS. It follows this order of operations. So the order has to do with, you have brackets first, then it's going to evaluate exponents. Then the next is multiplication and division on the same line, that is in the third order. And then you have addition and subtraction as the fourth order. So it's always going to evaluate divisions and multiplications first before it does additions and subtractions. So let's go back to this example again. So now if we follow this order, then we are looking at multiplication and division first. So it's going to first do 5 over 3, which gives us 1.667. And then it's going to add 7 to that, and that's going to give you the 8.6667. Now this is important to understand, because with this in mind, we can actually force Excel to calculate in a particular order. So let's say if we wanted to evaluate the addition first, then we can simply put it in parentheses. So 7 plus 5, and that's because if you check back on this table, parentheses is the first order. And so Excel is going to evaluate that first. So it's going to give us 7 plus 5, which is 12 over 3, and that gives you 4. In the next video, we'll cover the most frequently used Excel operators. So stay tuned to learn more and improve your Excel skills.